Alright, welcome back guys, and it's time to take a look at one more EFSF Grunts type HGUC kit. Although it's technically a Zeon mobile suit, it still qualifies because it's an EFSF version of that, and this will also make a good transition into now taking a look at a series of HGUC Zeon type mobile suits. Of course, I'm talking about the EFSF type Zaku II F2 HGUC kit here. Now you guys maybe heard me say many a times that the Zaku II F2 HG kit here is one of the best HG kits out there. I think it's such a great kit. It's basically like the precursor to the HG, the Origin Zakus, which everyone knows are great. This is basically kind of almost the same thing. It doesn't have a couple of the nice little new things that the Origins versions has, but this version has a ton of accessories and actually less seam lines than the Origin version has as well too, which makes it pretty cool. So I've already reviewed the Zeon type version before a couple years back now, and it's basically the same thing, just in different colors. So it's going to be a pretty quick review. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly, show you guys a comparison to the Zeon version, of course, and then we'll just call it a day. So pretty quick one. Let's go ahead and check out the box here first. Alright, so on the front of the box right there, you can just see the Zaku 2 looking very cool in this white color scheme, kind of off-white color scheme there, and the GPO1 there in the background, so classic scene from 0083. On the back side, or the side there, I guess we should say, is 107 in the line. On the bottom of the box, there's this front and back look, how the kit is going to look when it's all painted up, and it's again white and kind of black and gray color scheme. Pretty cool color scheme there for that. Some information about it and some more stats over there. Go around to the other side, we got some more details about the build. You got some custom markings here you can use for that, EFSF logos and all that, and a couple of type of weapons. The machine gun that I think it's the same one that we usually see with the Zaku II FZ. But there's that. You got this different type of head with like the little armor panels on the top of it. You have three type of heads actually that you can make for this. It's the standard type, the commander type, or this extra armored type there, like that one there. And then you've also got the regular Zaku machine gun, but it's also a little bit different. So I really like this version of the Zaku machine gun with the kind of grenade launcher underneath there. It does look very cool. And you also have the missile pods for the legs and the heat hawk, of course. So there you go. Lots of weapons here included with this, and there's how it's going to look just straight out of the box, built up with some stickers on there. Very easy. And list price for this 1,500 yen, and not too bad at all. We've got a couple of bags of runners there, and our instructions here on the front is HGUC style instructions there with the big, nice big photograph there of the painted sample build. Yeah, it does look pretty cool in all white like that. And I like on the Zaku II F2 how it's got a little bit smaller head as well too. Some people may not like the head proportions, just as a kind of a subjective thing, but I like that it's got a smaller head on this one. It's a nice aspect of the design in my opinion. So there is again just how to place the stickers, or where to place them I guess I should say, around on the kit. You got a good reference guide for that, the details, and again about the three different type of heads you can make with this, the swivel in the hip joint there. Some more information there in Japanese, and our color guide down there, which is also in Japanese but pretty simple there. It looks like it says white 70% and sail color 30%, so it's going a little bit more kind of off-white cream than your usual. Over here we've got some more information all there in Japanese about the Zaku and its different weapons. You got a little blurb about each of the weapons, just some background information about those, and then down here some other 0083 stuff, the power gem, the GPO1, and the two different Domtroppen. Again, we're going to be taking a look at the sand type Domtroppen in the very near future. That's coming up in my series of Zeon HGUC kit reviews I'm going to be doing here next. On the parts list there, you can see we're going to be using everything except for a couple of polycaps, so that's pretty nice, and then it's just all through the construction. So let's just go ahead and check out the runners. So here is your marking sticker sheet. So I guess aside from the color that the kit is molded in, the only difference from the Zeon type is going to be the sticker sheet here as well. Obviously you got different stickers with the EFSF logos on there. You got a little pink circle there for the mono eye, and some numbers up there in white and in black for putting on the case. So you can choose whatever number you'd like. PC001 for our polycaps here in gray. And our A runner here may not look at first glance, but is actually in 4 different colors. So you got a couple of dark blue parts over here for the sides of the chest, kind of medium gray part there, color for the hands and some weapons parts, a darker gray up there for the piping around the Zaku 2, and then an even darker gray, kind of basically black here for the backpack and feet parts there. And then runner B here is getting into our main armor color here, that off-white cream kind of color, all looking very nice. And some more of that here on the C runner as well, some more skirt parts and waist parts there. And the D runner here, once again back to that medium gray color like we saw on the A runner, some more joint parts and things. We've got 2 of these. So there you have it guys. Like I said, I really love this kit, so always a pleasure to build another one. I'll get this all built up and then we'll see how it looks compared to the standard green type version. Alright guys, here it is, and it is just looking so good, man. I just can't tell you guys enough how much I enjoy the Zaku II F2 design, especially. It's certainly my favorite version of the Zaku II. And the HG kit is fantastic. There's a couple of seam lines on there, like one on the shoulder, basically. That's really kind of mostly about it, but a couple little bits of seam line on there, but you got some really nice joints in there. I mean, like I said, it's basically like a very close precursor to the Origin Zaku, so I'm sure you guys are all very familiar. You've heard many times how great the HG the Origin Zaku kits are, how they're like the best HG Zaku kits that you can get. This is almost just as good. I think probably just as good in some ways, but we'll go over that all here in a little bit. First, let's just go through all of the many accessories that you get included with this kit. And so speaking of Origin kits, the hands are pretty much exactly the same hands that you get with the HG the Origin Zakus. You get a couple of holding hands here, as well as a trigger finger hand for the right side and a open hand for the left side. And we've got a couple options for the head as well too. You've got the standard type, you got the commander fin type, and also the type here with a couple of like extra plates of armor on it there. And of course you've got the always classic heat hawk here with a little connection piece that you can use to plug this onto the side skirt. It seems a bit odd to plug it on there like blade to the front like that. Usually it's the other way around, but just looking at the manual, that's how it showed to plug it on there. But anyway, you can plug that onto the side skirt. You could turn around the other way if you felt more comfortable doing so. I like that. Also got this couple of grenades here that you can plug onto the side skirt as well. So those will just plug onto that side like that. Very nice little accessory there. You got the missile pods that will attach onto the legs. So these, obviously those should be red, so you'll have to do a little bit of painting on them if you don't want them to just be all gray. That will just fit around the leg there, and then put this a little bit back together. There you go, like that. And it doesn't necessarily like clip into position or anything like that. It just sort of like rests there when you need to like push it down tightly so that it fits tight there on the leg, but it's not necessarily held in there by anything. But anyway, there you go. Never really been a fan of this, to be honest. Love the Zaku II, but never really been a fan of the like leg missile pods on it. I mean, these ones do look pretty alright. And then both types of machine gun here. Now this one that again is the design that I don't necessarily really care for. I think it doesn't look too bad. This one does have a little peg there on the handle to be held in the trigger finger hand very nicely. Of course, you got a seam line down the top of this, and kind of all over a seam line on this, because basically there's two halves put together, and just this piece up here at the front is a separate piece there. So very simple, but it looks nice. But what I definitely prefer is the Zaku machine gun here, which is a little bit more bulky because it has the extra grenade launcher attachment here at the bottom. So as usual, the camera can move. The side handle here can also fold out like that, and we do have an extra ammo drum here for that, which can be plugged onto the back skirt for storage there. Very nice. And just to quickly go through some of the articulation here, like with the Origin kits, you can move the mono eye. It's a little bit hard to do without removing the head though, because the switch is up underneath here. So you can just push that to one side or the other and it will rotate the mono eye. Now the advantage that this has over the Origin kits is that the mono eye is actually molded on there, so that gray piece inside of there actually has a circle molded onto that, so that makes it much easier to paint, whereas the Origin kits is just a completely flat surface. So that's nice, but the articulation of the head is going to be pretty limited as it's very small and very close, tight to the body, so you can move it like a little bit forward and back. You can turn it, of course, but like up and down movement is going to be pretty non-existent. You can only have a little bit of range of movement there. That's basically it. And just due to the design of the F2, it also doesn't really have much in the way of hip movement or like waist movement, stomach crunch, ab crunch, I guess. Again, compared to the Origin Zakus or other versions of the Zaku, it's a very tight. You basically got torso and skirt. There's no middle section in between, so it doesn't really move a whole lot there. You can kind of separate it up off the ball joint a little bit and get a little bit more bend out of that, but not really too much, and not really much rotation here either. Just a little bit side to side there like that basically. The shoulder joint will swing forward out like that, and really interesting, cool aspect of this kit as well too is that you actually have this plastic piece which covers up the polycap there, so you won't have just an exposed polycap up inside there, so that's nice as well too. You will have a seam line down the middle of this shoulder armor, but it doesn't go through the spike. The spike is a separate piece, so it's just on like the main part, and then the spike you just stick on after that, so that's nice. That will move up and down. The shield over here on this side is just connected via a polycap ball joint, so that will move up and down and move around a little bit, but not really all that much because again it's pretty tight on there. The arm you can bring out to about 90 degrees before this shoulder arm is just kind of like taking over the head there, and then the arm is going to work pretty normally, just a rotation there at the top. bend there in the elbow, which is going to give you about 90 degrees. That's going to be about the extent of that, because it's just a single joint. But the very nice thing about this, again, compared to the HG Origin kit, which has a big seam line right down the middle of the arm, because of the design of this, there's no seam line on the arm, which is very nice. You just have a front half and a back half there, so that's easy. The wrist, of course, is just on a ball joint. These front skirt bits down here can also move up and down, that one there, so that'll allow you to bring the leg up to the front to about there, not quite to 90 degrees, but it should be high enough that then you can get a good knee bend there out of that and still do some nice posing with that. The side skirts will move up and down a little bit, but again, just because of the design of this, because this hose there goes around and like through this bit here on the side skirt, that's going to be limiting the movement of the side skirt there a little bit. The back skirt here is just fixed, and the backpack as well too. Nothing really moves on this. These little thruster bells you could like adjust very slightly, but not really all that much there. The hip joint in there will rotate a little bit side to side like that, and then the legs themselves will rotate there at the top. They'll move out like so. Actually, the construction of the legs in terms of like the engineering of them it's basically exactly the same as the HG Origin kits, except for the feet. These don't have a bend in the feet where the Origin kits have a bend in the feet. The feet is just one solid piece there, but we saw the knee bend there. As for the ankle bend, that will move a little bit side to side, just about like that, so that can actually extend out a little bit. So you should be able to get a pretty good wide stance out of this. Also forward, pretty good there, and back, not too bad. Get some full detail up underneath the feet there, and some I love like the little detail of like these little verniers here on like the side of the legs as well too. So while in general it doesn't have as many like panel lines and things like that compared to the Origin kits, it does have really nice little bits of detail just if you like the design. Ah yes, and aside from the seam on the shoulder, the only other seam line that you have on here is just this little bit here at the bottom of the leg. So you got that panel line there, but then for this lower part, there's just a little bit of a seam there, unfortunately. But otherwise, that's it. But as we get to wrapping up the review, here it is with everything on there that you can possibly put on there. So you can basically put all of the weapons on there except for, one of the machine guns. You have to choose either one or the other in terms of the machine guns, but if you go with the Zaku machine gun, then you can also plug the extra ammo drum onto the back skirt there. I think that makes you gives you the best look if you want to go for like a fully loaded up Zaku 2 here. You have very few accessories left over that are not there on the kit, so it does look really cool with everything on there, I got to admit. And so as I mentioned before, I'll just give you guys my thoughts on how this compares with the HG Origin Zaku. If you're wanting to get like the best 1/144 scale Zaku. So the first thing is that both the F2 and the Origin Zaku kits both look fantastic. I just think in terms of just their general looks, the proportions, the details on them, both of them look amazing. If you like Zakus, and they're both great. As far as the Origins kits go, they do have a little bit more surface detail on them. They do have a little bit better articulation, but on the other hand, they also have a little bit more seam lines on them. If you're worried about painting them, you have to remove the seam lines, most notably on the forearms, and then the seam line on the shoulder armor. If you have the spiked shoulder armor, the seam goes through the shoulder spike as well too, which is a bit annoying. And as for the accessories, as you guys can see, this kit does come with a lot of different weapon accessories, which is nice. As for the Origin kits, it depends on which kit you get. Some of the kits only come with like a couple, and some of them come with a lot more, so it depends on which kit as far as how many weapons you're going to get in the box. But the great thing about them too is that they're all compatible, so if you have more than one, you have weapons compatible over multiple kits. But a lot of the kits share the same weapons. There's really only a few, so many that you have to choose from, and they should be compatible with these weapons as well too, by the way. At least the machine guns that are included with this kit, and the Heat Hawk, of course. But the other advantage that this kit has just too is the pretty low price at 1,500 yen for a HG Origin Zaku kit that has a good amount of weapon accessories included in the box. You're looking at probably 1,700 or 1,800 yen more, so not too much difference, but slightly cheaper, and you still get a lot of stuff there in the box. So interesting stuff to think about if you're looking for a good Zaku kit. Honestly, I would say definitely pick up one of both. There's a lot of really great HG Origin Zaku kits to choose from, and different variants and things like that. So I would definitely recommend still getting some of those, but I would definitely also recommend checking out the F2 as well. Even though this kit is older, it still holds up really super well, and I think it's still definitely one of my favorite HG kits. And especially again, if you're a fan of Zaku's, you definitely got to check this one out. Hopefully someday they'll make a Master Grade 2.0 version based off of the Master Grade 2.0 frame, but the frame just has a lot of different parts to it, especially the exposed joints at the knees and the elbows that wouldn't be able to work. The torso and the waist section is just differently shaped, so it's understandable why they haven't yet adapted that 2.0 frame to the Zaku II F2 as well, because I just don't know how much of that they really would be able to use here for the F2 variant. But hopefully someday they'll make a 2.0 of the Master Grade, but until then, this HG does work really well. So thank you guys all so much for watching today. If you have any other further questions or comments, of course, feel free to leave those down below. And of course, you guys can check out all the kits we've got there in stock at USA Gundam Store. The link will be down below. You can save 10% off everything there on the store using my coupon code ZakuAurelius10. Check that out if you guys want to save a little bit. And until next time, guys, hope you're all having a great day. I'll see y'all later. Bye, guys.